Hi, welcome back. Now FNAF 3, this game I have the least experience with. When I was a kid, this is pretty much the only FNAF game I actually avoided. Not because I didn't like it, but it was just for some reason extremely difficult for me. I couldn't really wrap my head around the mechanics, and I never actually beaten the game until writing the script to this video. FNAF 2 and 1 were the only games I was actually interested in playing. FNAF 3 have only gone as far as Night 3 and then quit. But now, I'm here. I finally beat it, and I'm ready to voice my opinion on it. And you know, this game really isn't as bad as I thought it would be. It isn't as good as some people make it out to be, but it really isn't that bad. This game pretty much did the opposite of FNAF 2. When that game came out, it was the shit. Everybody couldn't get enough of it, but it died down a decent amount as the years go by. But FNAF 3, people hated it. Like, really hated it. And from what I see nowadays, the hate died down a lot, and people are starting to hold it on a much higher standard. And where I stand, I think it's just alright, and in this video, I'll explain why I think FNAF 3 is the underrated gem of the series. So first off, I'll talk about the animatronics first this time, since it's probably the biggest selling point of the game, with you-know-who being the main focus. But before I start praising Springtrap, I want to defend the Phantom animatronics, and their still negative reputation I don't think they deserve. These guys are not at all bad. Hell, some of these guys like Phantom Foxy and Puppet are actually pretty good. Phantom Foxy, I think, still has a jump scare that's top 10 in the entire series. You gotta reboot your systems, and then when you turn, you see him standing there, and before you know it, he's already leaping in your face. And the Puppet isn't as jumpy as Foxy, but she is super eerie. How she just follows your vision left or right, no matter where you look while you black out. It's super creepy to me. And I can praise that the other Phantoms are too, but I really want to object the usual criticism that they're just lazy recolors of old animatronics. And I guess you could be right about that, but it just makes sense in this game. Only issue I have is it's not consistent. There's some of them are Wizards, and then Chica's or FNAF 1 has died for some reason. That makes no sense to this day. Okay, now for the star of the show, Springtrap. And yeah, best animatronics in this series, hands down. Let's start with the design, and damn, Scott really outdid himself this time. His super rotten suit just barely hiding the mangled corpse underneath gave me nightmares as a kid, more than any other animatronic in the entire series. Starting around the face, you can see how his robotic eyes are shoved into his real sockets, and how his teeth are always in a smiling position. He looks like he's always thinking, no matter what render you look at him. He's the scary and opposite of any other animatronics in the entire series. In most other FNAF games, what made those robots scary is the lifeless gaze they had. Take FNAF 1 Bonnie or Withered Freddy for example. They're just too lifeless. For how they usually behave, they just have a single expression pretty much most of the time. But Springtrap looks like he has too much emotion. When you look at him, he looks like he's aware of everything. He's always thinking. Even though he's a corpse inside of a robot, he looks like he still has full human capacity to think and know and plan. And in this game, when you are just facing off with him, it seems more personal. You're not fending off an animatronic, you're fending off a rotten serial killer with 30 years of pent-up anger. He looks intelligent, like he knows what he's doing, and not just a mindless killing machine like most of the other animatronics. And how his body build is, he's bulky but again human. It looks like a suit a human would wear compared to the other animatronics, which are either way too bulky or super cartoony. And now, let's get under his suit, and yeah, he's just a mummy that's wrapped around a metal animatronic endoskeleton like a vine growing around a stick. It's sad to see that this is the only game that gets him right. Every other game, he's pretty much terrible looking. You'd think I'm just pointing at Scrapchat, but even things like Help Wanted Springtrap model looks absolutely terrible compared to this thing. It's just way too clean, and there's heavy loss of the original gore, and if you look at the model, it's just a watered down version of the original's greatness. Now to the good of the gameplay. And this game is super unique, and I absolutely love the concept. I've actually always loved it, even though I barely played the game. The dingy cameras and systems that you need a separate panel to reboot makes the world more immersive in my opinion. And the concept of you trapped vulnerable in a smaller building with a rotted serial killer is terrifying. Knowing he has the will to kill you but is stopped only by his robotic prison while you're being haunted of shadows of the past is just a perfect concept for a horror game, in my opinion. The fact that you see Springtrap in front of you and the only thing separating you is a plate of glass is again creepy as hell. Or when you go to reboot your systems and you just see him shuffle out of view from peeking into your doorway is just perfect horror to me. It just strikes with everything I find scary in the game. Now for the story side of things, this game goes back and forth with FNAF 2 on the best lore in the series. The hidden minigames you need to glitch out to eventually give cake to the lost souls so they can live their happiest day and move on is in my opinion the best ending the series has ever made. And now everyone and their grandma knows who Springtrap is, but if you didn't know nothing and played the game back then, and just to see the reveal at the end that you've been going up against a broken old serial killer, it's just an amazing reveal. It's just not talked about because it's the FNAF community. Everybody knows because they need to try to figure out the story. I don't blame them, but it's just an amazing reveal that gets kind of overlooked sometimes. But that's enough of the good. Let's get to the bad. Okay, so now what's wrong with this game? And I'm going to start with how luck-based it is. FNAF 1 and even 2, when I died, I felt like I was the problem, a skill issue on my part. But this game will only let you win if it feels like it. There has been so many times on Nightmare mode, he would just be in front of the glass and I play the audio in Cam 2 and he decides, nope, I'm gonna run across and there's nothing you can do about it. The other games had luck-based aspects too, like Bonnie and Chica would camp your doors in the first game or Toy Bonnie in the second game. But this game, the entire thing is built off luck. And design-wise, like, why does Fan and Chica have to be different? It would just make more sense for them to be coherent. I guess if you believe the theory that it's the same night guard from FNAF 1 and 2, then maybe it's fine. But Withered Chica just wouldn't make more sense in my eyes. Or for Freddy and Foxy to be the FNAF 1 models, but they're just not. And with all the good the minigames do, I have absolutely no idea how people figured out how to access them, or glitch them to get the good ending. Like, you have to type a random code in the wall, and then you have to jump through a specific section of the minigame wall, and then figure out how to parkour through identical boxes. It's a miracle people figure it out so quickly how to get the good ending. And how Springtrap can just bolt as fast as the Flash in certain difficulties, it's insane. This man can go lightning fast sometimes. But that's almost it on the bad. This is a really good game. One of the best in the series in my eyes. This game is amazing, if so a bit annoying. It does so much so good, and then so much so wrong. The lore and story is only rivaled by FNAF 2, and the personal gameplay and rivalry you have with Springtrap is excellent. Do I think it deserves the hate it got back then? Absolutely not. This game is amazing. I give it an 8 out of 10. That's it for this video. If you liked it, support me by subscribing for more videos like this. Goodbye, everybody.